Hello and welcome to another session of India Employer Forum Samvaad, our dialogue series where we bring together leaders to explore the changing world of work. So I'm Balasubramanian A, Team Lead Services Limited, and I'll be your host and moderator for today's conversation on skill development, productivity, and process excellence. Lessons from large-scale industrial transformation. For those joining us for the first time, just to set the context, the India Employer Forum is a non-profit community that discusses, understands, and documents the many aspects of employment, employability, and ease of doing business. As we look ahead to India at 100, that is Viksit Bharat. TeamLease is the knowledge partner providing expertise, research, and insights while supporting IEF's events, webinars, and initiatives. So, to give you a little bit of depth about today's topic, India's skill gap is one of the biggest obstacles to its growth, and bridging it is what will power our economy and open doors for millions. I mean, as recently as yesterday, the labor codes have been notified, which is phenomenal. The Union Minister Sri Jayant Chaudhary rightly said, skilling is to be understood not merely as a supply side intervention, but as a demand driven, market aligned, and outcome oriented ecosystem that addresses the evolving needs of industry and the workforce. The reality on the ground shows why this matters because based on recent analyses of the PLFS, that is the Periodic Labor Force Survey, nearly 88% of India's workforce is engaged in low competency occupations. I also recently happened upon a statistic which showed that the per hour GDP of India has grown only from around $4.50 to about $10 in the last 20 years. Whereas in the same duration, China's GDP per hour has grown from the same $4.50 in 2005 to nearly $20, right? So, which means they have grown at 2 times the pace that we have grown at in the same period of 20 years. So, the single biggest reason for this is skill gap. Only 10 to 12% of our entire workforce occupies high competency roles, which hence generate a higher GDP per hour and hence will also be able to earn a higher sort of income per hour as well. So industry needs are changing fast, and especially in manufacturing, energy, and downstream oil and gas, where technical, behavioral, and digital skills are increasingly in demand. The challenge is not just about numbers; it's about the right skills in the right places. So to bridge this gap, we need smart, targeted strategies, reskilling and upskilling initiatives that actually translate into results, boost productivity, strengthen competitiveness, and also help India grow sustainably. We have the manpower, but do we have the skills? That's the billion-dollar question that India faces today. So, joining us today to unpack these themes is Mr. Imtiyaz Arshad, Chief General Manager, CEO and Secretary, Skill Development at Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, HPCL, which is one of the Maharatnas, a certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, PMP professional, and an experienced leader with a career spanning operations, project delivery, HR-led productivity initiatives, and skill development. Imtiyaz ji has led landmark initiatives, including Project Utkrisht/Utkarsh, that produced significant productivity and capacity gains across HPCL's operations. He brings deep practitioner insight into how skill building, process excellence, and participative management combine to deliver sustainable business outcomes. It's a pleasure having you with us today, Imtiyaz ji. Thank you so much for joining us. To start off with, as you know better than me, India faces a significant supply-demand gap for skilled workers, especially in technical and operational roles. So from your vast experience, I mean, you are among the senior leadership in one of India's largest companies. What are the most effective strategies that you have been able to implement or witness in terms of closing this gap?
Thank you so much for wonderfully summarizing the context. And you told employment and employability and ease of doing business.
Yeah.
These three are really very different terms. We mix it up, and result is that we are nowhere. Before starting, we are Hindustan Petroleum. It is operating and managing the Skill Development Institute at Vishakhapatnam. It's almost 8 years old. 2016 we have started. And so far we have trained almost 27,000 plus children, basically unemployed youth from social sectors. And most of our trainees are from rural background. And they majority of them are the ones who are from plus two and ITI, meaning thereby that they have not been able to complete their education, which we can say up to graduation. So the challenge of society is how to really employ them in a sector which can get them growth. So that is how we have started our journey from 2016, and very proud to say that our employment percentage has been increasing, consistently, and now we are at a level which is 90% plus in this current year. Uh, and there lies some of the answers to the question which you have asked. What exactly employability improves for any individual? So from that, when I look at it, see, most of our educational curriculum, including institutions, are based on the model of what? That is knowledge. Now, that is information rather, not even knowledge. Information you process and you get knowledge. So it is modeled on information, and you mug up information and you are no topper. So you don't actually practice it. I can say about myself, I have been product of that age when we mugged up things and we topped the university. That's how it happened. But those days, probably information and knowledge had some traction. Today, information is available at drop of your hat, or rather at finger. Say Chat GPT or Copilot, whatever. You want to know about how to make a rocket, in 4 bullet points, they will give you. So information or knowledge do not have as much traction as it was. Problem is education system is still going along those lines. Their models are very different. No, they just operate, whatever way. We all are knowing that in government sector things are, or rather government colleges, no, traction is not as much there. Private colleges has mushroomed. They all have mushroomed. And the final is number of students into whatever fees are available. That is the revenue model. Now come to industry. Very rightly, you have pointed out the challenges, the current business environment, which talks on cost competitiveness, pure and simple. You reach at a place faster than others. You supply product better than others. That's how entire today business environment is done. Now, what one more fact I will try to say from the business perspective is essentially today almost all company has become logistic companies because of this innovation of internet and IIoT. Because you make something in California and then you ship to India, or you make California ideas, make a program, send through internet, Vishakhapatnam or plant, they operate your programs or your industrial advices or whatever it may be. What I am trying to say is a guy sitting in Vishakhapatnam can control production unit at California. So things have just evened out. It has opened up opportunity at the same type of same time challenges. Challenges cost has evened out. That is why China is blooming and grooming. The fact is that China has just mastered the art of logistics. Okay, they have started 30 years ago. We are doing now. So now, when this cost competitiveness is there, the focus on how to do a thing, that is called skill. Now you can say you make a robot. Fine. There are technical aspects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that can be done. But how? If you fail, how to react, how to respond. So those kind of skills comes only with practice, with hands-on. Like what we are doing. You are doing this job for a number of people for a number of times. That's how each interview you are improving. There is no shortcut. Problem here is, if you look at the current context of young entrepreneurs and Gen Z, the hands-on practice, probably that is one of my observation, is missing. Okay, or is lacking. I won't say missing. That may be a little bit harsh to know everybody. Now, when we are getting our children, say some simple example of interview skills. Now, interview, you have to say your name. You have to say from where you are coming, what you have done, and why you want this interview. Simple things. When we train up our children or our rather trainees, one word will come for name, and after that they won't be able to even express. Now, problem is not their English, problem is not their lack of language, problem is their confidence. They have not been practicing it. They are from the social objective background, and from that background, from where they are not able to express in front of people whom they think supposedly are at higher level. Now, this is again function of practice. So, to come to some part of questioning your answer, if I have not taken you too far, is to employable skills to me means hands-on practice more and more and more. Don't get stuck at what and intellectualize. That is the way I will.
Very well said. Couple of points that really stood out for me are number one, uh, even today our education system is based on what, which is just information. The topper of the class probably has more information in his head than the other guys. That's all, which is commoditized today. It's on your fingertips, as you said. Second point that really stood out to me is how you interestingly said all companies today have become logistics companies, right? It's just about coordinating across the world for different products and services. Absolutely bang on. There are so many products sold in India, manufactured in China, or maybe there is a software that is manufactured in India, which is shipped to the US and they use it, whatnot, right? So no, you are absolutely right. But as you also said, it should be about skills, it should be about how, right? But if the education system is still focused on the what, how will we implement the how in the schools, and how do we change that model? Because Germany, Japan, China, etc. have implemented vocational training in schools from, if I'm not wrong, 6th standard or 8th standard onwards. We still don't have it. We don't have it even in colleges, right? So how do we solve for that, sir?
We started in our small way, and I will give my example or our example of what we did. We have a lot of North Coastal Andhra. We have got a lot of colleges, and Vizag is a good destination around this area. We have connected to faculties, the professors, the lecturers. And what we have done is we have conducted faculty development programs for these lecturers, these professors. What we have observed is that their curriculum is based on syllabus. Now, syllabus is heavy. So when we are interacting in faculty development, what we are trying to do is to understand how do they engage with students. Most of the time, their focus is completion of syllabus. Now the syllabus has whatever anybody says, but it has been remaining, everything to everybody. Now, once what is already available in the system through mobile, through chat GPT, whatever it is, why shall our focus is too much on what? But teach us what they will do. So when we are conducting sessions to them, what we are trying to tell them is, you teachers must strive to become trainer. That may be one of the very simple solutions to what we are facing today. I will tell the difference. The trainer basically is taking care of the last 5 students of the class. Trainer wants to see that everybody understands. Whereas if you look at teacher and if you go back to your school and college, top 5 students are favorites of teacher. They may not know even the names of other students. Trainer, first thing they do is know the names of everybody whomsoever they are trained. So this engagement, this interaction, and that is why I very keep propagating across Vizag education institutions. I keep going to various colleges and do this faculty development program. Even otherwise, I do share during various employment melas and those kind of things. We conduct a lot of programs at our institutes. This year itself, we have done almost 50 odd placement drives. Everywhere, what the point which I am trying to tell to all these institutions is, kindly imbibe the skill of a trainer. Means you must see that every child, every student understand. But the problem here is again challenge syllabus. So if they have to complete the syllabus, they have to get a pace. Now pace is restricted by the student, the last 5 students. So this is the conundrum, or this is a dilemma which we have to go through. So the practical level challenge is this at education institutions. That is first challenge. Second, what I strongly feel is, see, employable skills are about expressing. See, behavior is about expression. Behavior is not what you're thinking or what you're feeling. Behavior is how do you express, because world is built on the other part of it. No others. That is equally important that how much you know yourself. Now, knowing others will happen only when you express. And people will also know you when you express. Now look at some of our saying, no, where people say that, oh, क्या कहते हैं, वो कर्म किए जा, फल की चिंता मत करे इंसान, वो क्या वो है ना, वो ड्रम जो है खाली ड्रम ज्यादा बजता है. So those kind of sayings we have grown up. So somehow, somewhere, we still are stuck. If I want to talk about myself, what other people will think, what he will think, what she will think, and that is how things are going on at one level. Second level, I'm not at all having confidence, and hence I'm not able to share my thoughts to others. So what I will like to say is that once you talk of employable skills, the important aspect of here is to express. And when I say express, be ready to feel. The moment you express, you become vulnerable. The moment you become vulnerable, you are susceptible to feel, because somebody may not like it, or you may not be speaking the most appropriate thing. So be it. Unless you say how world knows, or unless world knows, how do you know whether it is appropriate or not appropriate? So I am connecting the skills of behavior with the skills of your technical skills, or whatever no you say domain skills, so to say.
You make some lovely points, and I think this particular part I'm sure would resonate very well with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, because looks like you are talking like one of them. Behavioral skills about expressing yourself. You should be heard. Only then we will know who you are, etc. And all our education system. So I think what you're saying is very ideal, and it's great to hear that you've implemented this also. But thinking on India scale, if we can actually make sure that such thought process is firstly standardized and scaled up on an India level, then I think we will start looking at education very differently. And like you said, we are still calling teachers as educators, not as trainers, right? We are not looking at skilling at all. The same person who understands various experiments in school in sixth or seventh standard, you give him all those things, he doesn't know how to actually do it, right? Because he has no training, right? It is not enough to just watch a video about learning to ride a cycle or reading a book about it. You should actually get on it and ride and fall 10 times. Only then you will know.
Right.
We are not encouraging that kind of learning at all, sir. So unfortunate. But that brings me to my next question, Imtiyaz ji. You've led HPCL's landmark transformation programs, Project Utkarsh and Utkrisht, which not only drove remarkable productivity gains, but also went on to be featured as a case study at IIM Calcutta, which is itself a phenomenal feat. So what were the key design principles and change management strategies that help you align thousands of employees? I mean, you earlier mentioned a figure 27,000, and make this transformation both measurable and sustainable. Would love to really hear your experience on this project.
Thanks again for bringing this topic. And that again is connected to my tenure as a plant manager. Between 98 to 2008, I was plant manager of LPG bottling plant. And you may not be knowing Bala, but no, you can ask your uncles and other people who were there at that time. We used to have a term called backlog, LPG. And that backlog used to be the time between, it is lead time, the time between you order a refill and you get the cylinder refill. It used to be anywhere between 15 days to 1 month across India. So today, probably you order today and you get today or at the most tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the gap between demand and supply was so huge then. In HPCL context, we were doing around 3 million tons, 2.7 to be specific, those days in 2008. And our backlog, like other companies, were around 15 days or so during those. The challenge was how to improve our production, because market was having traction. You produce more, market will get, because that is the need for everybody, essential need, you can say, basic needs of having a refill, having an LPG cylinder at house. So we started with this aspect of it. When I was plant manager, I got in touch with some of this transformational, say Lean Six Sigma, what we see. And in somewhere around 2004, when I was plant manager at Jetni, which is Bhubaneswar, we implemented this principle of Lean Six Sigma. That is nothing but make process lean. Just to put it very, broadly, lean means there should not be any fat. And fat is what? Time. Waiting time is fat. Inventory is fat. Excess motion is fat. Going around is fat. So all this fat, if you remove, it becomes lean. And lean, once it becomes, then it is having the minimum cost. Forget cost, minimum time. Now, most of the manufacturing unit, we are looking from cost, but actually that is the derivative. It should be a function of time. Lesser the time, lesser the size, lesser the lead time, lesser the process time, lesser the throughput time, and you are lean. You are there. Cost has to be less. Cost has to be will be most competitive. So we practice there, and we had lot many things to know. Like workers are coming, say instead of 6 o'clock, our production is starting 6:30. Okay, and this half an hour was taken as usual. Like you will come at gate, go and change your uniform, then you will go to the floor, and then you will start production. So this was taken as normal. So in an 8-hour shift, we used to produce around 6 to 6.5 hours effectively. That is almost 20% we are losing there only, or 25. We made it to 7 hours 45 minutes with 15 minutes of downtime. Now how? Again, involvement of worker. So 6 o'clock, our touch point was that carousel has to start. 6 hours, 6 o'clock. Now how carousel can start? Now carousel start may you only need line manpower. Support functions are not as much important at that point of time. So that line manpower is placed and they start production. Everything is connected through assembly line. So it starts. Second question came how? Whether everybody will come 15 minutes early or half an hour early. We told no. Bari bari say, maybe say out of 30 people, 8 people, 1/4 of them or 1/3 of them can come. Bari bari say 15 minutes early, 15 minutes early, 15 minutes. What we are investing? 15 minutes. What we are getting 15 minutes of 10 people. And what we are getting? 1 hour, 45 minutes of 30 people. So that is how that was one aspect. Second aspect is when we try to do, as I told you, make the process lean. Some of the machines, weight checking machine, there will be accumulation. A leak testing machine, there will be accumulation. We just made it live balanced. Means every machine, very simple, no rocket science. Our effort was to make it balanced so that every machine has got appropriate capacity. And what is that capacity? More than the carousel capacity, which is the source. So suddenly 1,000 cylinders per hour became 1,500, 1,600. And that achievement we got. Third thing was on rejection. Earlier, our weight rejection was around 8% to 10%. And we implemented the Six Sigma methodologies. We were able to reduce to less than 1%. So rework has reduced by 7 to 8%. Think of 1,500 cylinders, ka 7 to 8% is 150. 150 means 2 persons engaged in reworking. Zero. And because of this, we were able to reduce our manpower requirement by almost 30%. And we signed an agreement with union which said that this productivity norm was increased to 50%. So first we implemented, and then we signed agreement with union in 2010, and their productivity norm became 11,625 100% as against earlier of 7,800. So union agreed, everybody agreed, though it took almost 5 years of journey, 2 years in signing. But then all these improvements come in a small packages only, and we build on it. So there have been a lot of learning during the past. But just to put it very broadly and simply, we improved on time, 6 to 7 hours, 45 minutes. We improved on production rate, that is around 1,000, 1,100, 2,500 plus. And then we improved on weight rejection from 8% to 1%. And we improved on downtime, which is from 8% to 3%. So that is how we got 50%. And then we published this case study Professor Bodhi Bhatanag, he was the one who authored it. I was the main protagonist. So there it is already, we have actually, recorded it. Because we are not very comfortable. Many companies are not comfortable in sharing case study, as you may know. But
Yeah.
our then chairman, he was kind enough. He, allowed me. He was my boss at some point of time. So, and then that is how that case study came. So there we are talking of lot of failure. What I am talking, the journey had lot of failure. It was there, and we got American Society for Training and Development Award, which is now called ATD. And this last line, what I will put, exactly similar principle we adopted in Utkrist, which was for O&D terminals. Now, this petrol, diesel lorries you are seeing, whichever is coming to retail outlets, their cycle time was close to 3 hours. Over 5 years of journey, it was reduced from 3 hours to 40 minutes average on all India basis for almost 100 locations. An LPG plant, almost 46 locations, we were able to improve 50%. Since we are high on locations, we are high on volume, we do today close to 40 million tons. So the gain was also humongous, thousands of crores. So small steps, small improvement, but gain was humongous. And we have lot many, those days, almost 5,000 workers, stakeholders we covered during phase of 2008 to close to 2018 when these two initiatives was undertaken. So that is how no, this achievement was done. And we had great team, great people, great worker and public sector worker. Just last line I would like to say, they are paid well and their social status is like ours on the any offices. So there is a challenge and there is a opportunity. We got the opportunity because their children also go to UK or USA. There's no, social status is almost same as of ours. So that challenge we could convert into opportunity because no, they were very happy to telling their children, oh, we implemented Six Sigma. So that kind of, we got some ideas during the implementation. Of course, it has lot of failures, but that hardly matters. No, in the end, you get what you aim at. That is how we reach there.
Thank you so much for getting into the details. And it's remarkable how you are able to remember the numbers so precisely, though it's been such a long time. It means you must have really gotten into the details, hunkered down, and figured out how you can get, each of these parameters, as you said, be it time or output or, the error rate, etc. You must have had very clear targets of moving it from X to Y%, right? So hats off to that. I'll see if I can get a copy of the case study and read that fully as well. I only managed to read the summary
I'll
of it,
send
but
you
I'd
the
love
link.
to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Would love to. Yeah, would love to read it, sir. I would really like to get into the details of it and try to understand and see what best practices we can take out of that as well. So thanks once again for sharing that. So that brings me to my very last question today, Imtiyaz ji. So as you know, we are in the era of Industry 4.0, as they say, which is nothing but it's a mix of AI, automation, data, sustainability, etc. These are transforming how businesses operate and people work. In this context, what are the skills of tomorrow, right, that you think young professionals should invest in? How can they cultivate a mindset that keeps them adaptable and future ready? I think this would continue probably from one of the points that you mentioned at the very beginning about training and behavior and all that, but I'd love to hear you more about what your advice is for the young generation.
See, my advice actually to entrepreneurship development program whenever we are conducting. Uh, First is technical skills. Most of our entrepreneurs, they are great. India is great technically, everybody in the world accepts. Problem is our functional skills. Or problem nahi, opportunity area. I should correct myself. It is on functional skills, which is to do more with less. So get cost competitiveness. That is our functional skills. And behavioral skills is fail, but run. Fail 10 times and run, because in entrepreneurship journey is about innovation and creation. You are bound to fail. That is given. So what you should do, you should become wiser. In business, we have term called agile. Now, agility is don't invest too much in your first pilot. So we have a concept of minimum value proposition, which is coming from dynamic thinking. I really don't like this concept and practice a lot with all our entrepreneurs and all our children. Is you ideate, and your ideation should be with respect to customer. not with yourself. What I have seen is most of the entrepreneurs, they make a great product and then they think that customer will buy. May not. So they invest 10 lakh, do every damn thing, and then go to customer. Customer says no, and they can't do anything. They have invested all their savings, all their father's savings. Now, my advice to them was that no, you make only a prototype, the concept of agile prototype, and that like a car has to be manufactured. For example, चार पहिया बनाओ और उसको चलाओ और चलाने के बाद उसको जाके खिलौना बना दो और उसके बाद कस्टमर को दिखाओ whether it is okay. Customer will give some feedback, bring it up, invest another 25,000 or 50,000 and sell it to customer. Basic version of product you sell. And after that, as and what customer says, keep on improving, keep on improving, keep on improving till you get to your market position, wherever you want. Here, what is happening? Your money is not blocked. You are getting validation of customer. And then you are changing. That is agility. I find this approach really requires big push in India. Now coming to IIoT, see, to children, but to trainees, whichever college I go, in our time, IITs and IIMs were, I couldn't get into IIT, I couldn't get into IIM, and I always felt, oh, I missed something great. I missed during my time because that was on what? Today, sir, I can tell Balaji that nobody should meet these institutions. You do graduation, have 3 months of skilling. I'm telling from my practical experience. Say instrumentation, say embedded system, say VLSI, very large system integration, say automation, say IIoT. 2-3 months of creative skilling. We do skilling courses. It's not very costly. Even paid programs run between 20 to 25,000, including job placement at our end. And you are as good as any IITN or any IIM. Because 3 months you are practicing, you are ideating, and you are converting. So my take on this is time has come for India or whatever. No, I can say in those terms because okay, leave it that part of it. How much ever people take, that is their thought. To invest in learning how and practicing. Even this IIoT, that is also from your design and practice. You will go wrong. Some logic will go wrong. Some input will go wrong. Let it go wrong. Problem is we don't have time to practice. We don't have time to fail. So skilling infrastructure will provide this great opportunity for children to our trainees or students to go and learn. Problem here is how that ecosystem is to be made. So if I bring it to the larger picture, India has, as the figure says, 5% of formal skilling setup as compared to Japan, which is having 70, 80, USA 70, 80. You talked of Germany. They start with skilling. For them, you make hands-on and they, like you take any example, Steve Jobs example you take, or Dell example you take. They started when they were young. They were not great students because they engaged themselves in skilling, passing, failing, passing, failing. That connect need to come to our context, and people need to be, ready to fail. Now, one aspect which I would like to say is, we have, I don't know a term which I use, we have got lot of liking for word success. What is success? I don't understand at this stage in my life. Failed 100 times. When I told you this production, whatever productivity project we did, there were days when we were depressed. So many things have happened. In the end, we got 100%. So my point is, this success is, I think, overused term. Success means different to different people. We need to accept that as long as we are able to do, if the traditional word of success, like increase in our wealth or power or authority, as long as that meaning remains, probably we won't be willing to try and fail. Because if you fail, you think that you are going down in someone else's eyes. So if that connect come from society, it becomes easier. but then you can control what you can. So I always draw a line between what you can control. Control is you, control is trainees, control is students. So what, in my opinion, they should do is start hands-on, get into skilling. Skill institutes like us will be really happy to help. And any graduate, I can tell you, any intelligent means any willing graduate, if it gets training or skilling for 3 or 4 months, he can just try flying in the crowd. That much skill can come to him. After that, it is, of course, your trying, your own willingness, your own perseverance, but then at least you will be among one of the runners. So that is how I would like to say. And to all the people in the system, ecosystem of government or private entrepreneurs or private, facilitators, my request to them would be that how much ever they can support in skilling ecosystem. See, HPCL is very kind, Last year we did 3,700. This year we are going to cross 5,000. Prior to that, we were 2,000. And hopefully next year we may cross 6,000. We are the largest skill development institute in the country run by petroleum companies. And all this have been possible. We have not been utilizing more fund, same fund, more number. So all these have been possible only because we got a lot of support from local employers, local organizations, from various support governments and everywhere. If such systems are there everywhere, things can flourish. And that is a start. Long way to go, but that is how we can start.
That's phenomenal, sir. Thank you so very much. Absolutely loved how you said we need to keep encouraging an environment where it is okay to fail. In fact, it is good to fail, right? Fail, only then you will
Absolutely,
learn.
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think many people
Can,
think
can I
like that.
add some line, Bala?
Yeah.
Can I add some line, Bala? See,
Yeah.
one of the couplet which I really like is, सफर में धूप तो होगी, तुम चल सको तो चलो. Or you can
Yes,
make
yes,
out,
sir.
सफर
Yes.
में धूप तो होगी, तुम चल सको तो चलो. सभी है भीड़ में, तुम निकल सको तो चलो. So, सफर में, you will face problems.
Yeah.
If you can
Yeah.
run, go. Otherwise, don't join. सभी है भीड़ में. Everybody is in crowd. The person who's going ahead will go farther. That is how life is. किसी के वास्ते राहें कहाँ बदलती हैं? किसी के वास्ते राहें कहाँ बदलती हैं? तुम अपने खुद को बदल सको तो चलो. If I can change myself, then we should go. Nobody is going to change for you. And the last line is, यही है जिंदगी, यही है जिंदगी, कुछ ख्वाब, चंद उम्मीदें. This is life, some hopes and some dreams. इन्हीं ख्यालों को तुम पुर कर सको तो चलो. If you can bring this thought into action, then run in life. Failure and passing is contextual, it hardly matters. And for new Gen Z, that is what my take to them would be, that if I look at my example, I have failed a number of times. Maybe if I give percentage, just since I'm from data analyst background, Lean Six Sigma is what I practice, maybe 90% times I might have failed. I won't say I have passed yet, but what I have done is I have drawn satisfaction from what I have been trying to do. And last 3 years have been really very satisfying to me in this skilling ecosystem. When I see children and when I say employment percentage going up, and no, I never understood how our teachers used to feel. Uh, Today I understand, this skilling ecosystem gives so much of satisfaction because you are connecting to job, you are connecting to life. In
Yeah.
3 months, you don't have to wait. So that is the kick for our profession. And thank you so much for inviting. Thank you.
No, sir, thank you so much once again for taking time out to join and giving us your years of wisdom. You were able to distill that in a matter of 30, 40 minutes for us. And like I said, I think the single biggest takeaway for me is that we need to really do away with this fear of failure that is gripping our country itself as a whole. I would say we are not encouraged to fail. So I think that I would say is the biggest message for Gen Z and Gen Alpha as well, because I think we have thankfully in the last 20, 30 years come a long way, and we have created a stable environment at least where roti kapda makan ke liye koi jagda to nahi hai. I think we are okay there, hopefully, right? but now it is really about taking off and flying. So it is okay to fail, right? At this level, within the roti kapda makan, needs, you cannot afford to fail. But beyond that, when it comes to wants, I think it is okay to fail, right? So thank you so much, sir. On
Absolutely,
that
absolutely.
note, thanks a ton once again.